distinguished evaluators, officials, and faculty of the different universities, my co-presenter, viewers, good day to everyone. Marcos Arambolido, your presenter. My research study entitled Lived Experiences of Fishermen in the Midst of Coronavirus COVID-19 Pandemic. Why I decided to study this research? Because according to Tandavanit of 2005, subsistence fisher folks are prone to uncertainty and often characterized as the occupation of settlers in the coastal villages, and they belong to the poorest of the poor sector in the society. In most cases, fishermen do not appear in the social media on the awful effect of pandemic. The sector has a small voice in the community, for they are not heard, and most of the time, their sad experiences were not being given priorities. And yet, if this sector is affected, other sectors are affected as well, because fishery products are needed by farmers and as well as all sectors in the society, according to Porcate 8 Alab 2020. The objective of this study is aimed to determine the lived experiences of fishermen and how they cope during coronavirus pandemic. The methodology and the research design, the study employed the qualitative design using Goliath approach through face-to-face interviews of 10 fishermen participants. It is the intention of the researcher to gain fishermen's perceptions, perspectives, and understandings of their life experiences during coronavirus pandemic. The results and discussion on how the data in this study were handled is shown below. Stage 1, transcribing. The interview was conducted in the residence of the participants, which were along the coast. They were speaking their native language, Waray-Waray, during the interview. The interview was recorded so that in the translation, the researcher will be able to grasp all the significant information. The recorded interviews were transcribed and translated into English language. Stage 2, obtaining significant facts. The researcher have marked all words and statements that were significant to the study. Words and statements were numbered based on the degree of relationship to the phenomenon. Stage 3, 4, 5, and 6. Formulating meaning, clustering and formulating themes, describing the themes, and triangulation of the facts. The individual analysis, it sought to identify themes of participants' experiences. This began by searching through data for description of participants' experiences in the interviews. Identify the themes. We formulated meanings of the themes. We gathered significant statements from the participants and the different themes. First, participants in normal state. Fishermen are working 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. Although most of them are subsistence fishermen, still they are happy since they survived and gave their family needs. Second, their daily incomes ranges from 300 to 500 pesos, which is just enough for their food and little savings for their children's health and education. Their access to food and other basic needs during pandemic. Government and other private groups like non-government organizations assisted with food and a cash grant. According to a participant, during the lockdown, we have nothing left. There are no works and livelihood we can turn to. We are literally idle. The government support and aids are no more. The effect of the pandemic to their livelihood. Fishing and other means of livelihood were stopped. The construction, or rather construction works, tricycle utility, closure of stores, and many other business establishments. According to Knight et al. Of 2020, almost half of the world's seafood comes from small-scale fisheries, which also employ 90% of the world's fishers and provide crucial food and livelihood in the coastal community. The income of the fishermen during the pandemic. Fishing to be an important occupation that provided their main source of income to keep their families well and access to their basic rights in the society. Shimba and Musoka of 2014 articulated that during the closed fishing season, most fishers become economically handicapped. The coping mechanism during the pandemic. Family of fishermen did vegetable planting, do house helping, firewood gathering, and asked fish donations from big fishing vessels. Amid coronavirus, people coped with the food shortage by eating root crops and leafy vegetables and making rice porridge eaten with dried fish. According to one participant, early morning I went to the pier and asked some fish from my friends who went out to the sea. From the sales of the fish, I could buy 2 kilos of rice. I asked for credit from my store who can lend me a goods. The family support during pandemic. The wife and children help each other to find livelihood options to earn money for food and other family needs. According to a participant, me and my wife helped each other in order to earn money to buy food. My wife works for laundry and dishwashing. The fishermen fare and worry during pandemic. All people were in a state of fear and worries during the pandemic. Most of them opted to stay at home. The culture of the Filipino of being hospitable and accommodating to relatives was naturally not practiced just to prevent the contamination of the virus. Fishermen were emotionally affected since they were worried about how to support their family while afraid of being infected by COVID-19. Machero et al. Of 2020 stated that a further potential source of trauma foreseen is social division, particularly between privileged and disadvantaged groups. The conclusion of the study, fishermen experienced unprecedented impacts of the pandemic just like other sectors and the society. Family also had a sacrifice by skipping meals, looking for alternative livelihood, and finding other means of income. Fishermen have been emotionally worried about how to support their family to survive and how they will not be infected by the virus. The recommendation, government and non-government organizations should formulate a mechanism on how subsidies and aids can help marginalized sectors such as these fishermen to survive this pandemic. A study on the experiences of the fishing boat owners and fish vendors during coronavirus pandemic. Let me leave you a message. In times of crisis and pandemic, resiliency and family support are the strongest weapons. Thank you for listening and good day.